Oh, I am live. Let's go. Okay. Howdy. Today I am playing a brand new game by the name of Citizen Sleeper. Very, very, very cool game. It seems like very narrative driven. So there's going to be a lot of reading. I'll probably just narrate all of it. But yeah. Let me switch over. The front screen music is very, very chill. So let's start a new game. Okay, let's choose our class. So, operator. An operator works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. So, engineer. Work with machines and physical tools. 0, interface +1. Work with digital interfaces. Endure -1. Use strength or strength of a will. Intuit. 0, approach problems with awareness. Engage. 0, approach a problem head on. So this seems to be a long range type class. Extractor. Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Oh wait, there's perks. Perk, transfer intercept. Chance to gain cryo on interface actions. Perk, photosynthetic skin. Sunbathe, dice action allows energy recovery at home. Oh, there's another one here, okay. Machinist. A machinist repairs and modifies automated systems in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. So, and then perk, efficient extractor, chance to gain random scrap item on engineer actions. I think I'm gonna go for operator. Operator looks the coolest. Might turn the game volume down a tiny bit because it is a bit loud. Let's see. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. Unknown. Where are you? Items, data. Cryo, cryptocurrency stored in air-walled sticks of memory known as chips. Continue. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach, until you can't tell one from the other. It's just loud. Okay, there we are. Music level, I'll put that to 3. 2 sounds good. Okay, maybe 1. Continue. The cold slips in, behind and around you. The sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. Continue. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message, delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning, delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. So you can either remember the plan or remember the others, or remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but your options were limited, and once you got the itch to get out, by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into the cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reach the destination. Damn, this is totally not depressing. Oh, yeah. So I can either wait for the cold or try to rest. I'll try to rest. But you are restless. It has been a long time since you left, surely weeks, maybe months. You are duly aware of the damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but even then your body has shut many of its systems down to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be possible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of where you were once a person. Rest. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound too, everywhere. Screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its senses. Then light, white as the cold. Then softer and softer until a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. Oh. Okay, can I change any angles? No. Let's see, Dragos, pragmatic salvager. Ooh, Dragos, a pragmatic and private salvager. It's been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life. And you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships. Some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So sleep? You all thawed yet? Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes in the mark of the drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. What a cool little drone, man. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in a memory for a moment. Or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. What happened to them? He ignores your question. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you are just software. A rogue emulation, illegally possessing corporate property. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded into the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world, but as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours, it's falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S&ARP wants to protect their property. But if they can't keep a hold of you, well then no one can. Yeah. Sounds like people, in order to get like off-world or somewhere, they sell their consciousness, or at least a copy of it, to this corporation. I suppose we'll find out whether it's just, you know, you giving a copy or your entire consciousness itself. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Ooh. I am yawning so much. Planned obsolescence. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away, towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you are welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Nod. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest, and with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks. His drone's already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes, silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Okay, tutorial introduction. Welcome to Erdlin's Eye. Life in the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. Okay, I assume a cycle is just days, but seeing as there's no sun, per cycle, energy condition, end cycle. All cycles need to end, rest and prepare for the next one. Container. Or steel ores. You wake, curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange, disjointed. Its message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? I mean, escaping the station, I don't know where you'd escape to. Getting answers. I mean, what is there to get answers for? So I'd say building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images of your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns, burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking that they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Okay, tutorial, condition, action dice, and energy. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but also can be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bars empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Action dice. At the start of each cycle, you'll roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse condition, the less dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions. You must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Energy. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you have to find somewhere to get food and currency to buy it. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle, and if it becomes empty, you'll be starving and your condition will deplete at double rate per cycle. So it seems like I will have to find food this cycle, otherwise flickering, I don't know what that means. So I seemingly have, I don't know what the yellows mean. Dragos is stood in the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of its sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. Alright then, he nods. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally we'll pull out some tech and something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. I'm gonna assume chits is money, so I'll just say got it. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this, but in my opinion you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can, and sleep as well. He trails off. But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need the help. Happy to. Okay, he pauses. Thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher, there's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. So, can I move stuff or Dragos's yard? Here's an empty container. Got no money, got no items. Paying scrapyard. Okay, so actions. Actions are primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items, depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcome. Positive, the action goes better than expected. Neutral, the action succeeds. And negative, the action fails. So you can do manual salvage, which is endure. I have -1 endure, although it is safe. And then there's whole dissection, which is engineer, although it is risky. So the action dice has 100% chance for positive on that one, 50-50 for positive or neutral on this one, 25-50-25 for positive, neutral, negative, then 50-50 for neutral, negative. Okay. So one type, either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. 2, risk. Either safe, risky, or danger. No loss of condition, energy, or cryo. Negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. Danger. Negative outcome means condition loss. Neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. 3, skill. The skill that this action requires either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. Modifier. Either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is add-on to the action dice when it's slotted and improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. So, a debt called in, Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if you miss a payment or two, things can get nasty. Back in business, every salvage knows they are always just one lucky haul away from the next payday. So I assume a debt called in is failure. Oh, okay, that's where I put the dice. So this way, ooh, okay, I've got a neutral. Tutorial clocks. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed with the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Dragos' debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Okay, so Dragos' debt we have no input over. Okay, we got 15 cryo out of that. I think I'll probably put this one here. It's a 50-50, but it's no risk, so. Tutorial drives and navigation. In Citizen Sleeper, you unlock drives that as you discover more about yourself in the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any track drive will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access drive menu by the arrow button at the top left of the screen. You're now free to explore Erland's Eye and make life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Use mouse wheel or W and S to scroll along the station. Rotate the view with A and D. Good luck. Okay, cool. So I'll see what other option. All the reading is just killing my throat a bit. Oh wow. Low end gate, passage into the low end, bustling market. Oh, I assume it's a ring station, as in like it's a ring and circular. Dock B2, Rotunda, wet dock. Rotunda, old dock terminal. C4, Rotunda, wet dock. Dragos's yard, empty container. Oh, what are you? Shipyard. I assume that'll put me into the next area. Okay, I assume that's being nice to Dragos. And then survive, that's for a doctor. We got a bit of cash. It seems that find a doctor in the bright market. Probably want to go there anyways. Ask for directions. Why wonder when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the bright market? All you need is to encourage them. Okay, and then the smells and sounds of buzzing activity. So I've only got a success. I mean, sure, why not? This is 100% positive, so... Ooh, okay, that just insta-finished that. The bright market, part of the eye's lower rim. Yeah, you can find anything and everything. Okay, well I finished that. Does that mean if I leave... Oh, here we are. Sabine, Slum Doctor. Ort Exchange, Low End Gate, Memphis, okay. Let's go to Sabine. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down, your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You are thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hair block, they all have made the long queue a test of your nerve, but your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look at the enforcer. The enforcer is looking down the corridor, and you dare to glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He is there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, to carry through those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes, like mercury teardrops. A subsidiary sense input or aesthetic markers, you aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. This is really loud. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gets a full view of the bright market sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above. For a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. Ooh, Sabine. A doctor in the bright market. Comes a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away. Replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed, you make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak, they blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please sit, they gesture to the bed, then turn an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scan of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles. They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scan on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying, they say without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNR doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose, to prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping. They built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Let me just quickly see if I can... No, I can't change that. Why is it so loud? Brains decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer. One which SNR remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good, that may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says. And you're unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNR has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes. Hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside. You nod. He works for my benefactor, yet again. They are influential in the low end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, and sew up their wounds. They look away. But yet again has connections, smugglers from the Stalwart Belt, mercenaries working for their corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and will be expensive, but I think we can do it. Thank you. Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof. See if you can see their face. But the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Okay, it seems like for that at least. Sourcing stabilizer. Okay, so I can't really influence that. I kind of just have to wait. Ord exchange. Intuit, 0, cell components. I don't have any scrap. Yeah, no, I don't have any scrap. Play the exchange. The flow of chits and components in the exchange is complex, but a sharp eye and some tight trades can net you a good margin. Intuit 0. Trust the trader. There's an old strip mine for application stack in the backup. Okay, let's see. Leave. Emphas. Cool. Emphas is busy. his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok. His other hand idly tosses a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red fleck dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with a bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. Approach. Let's get me some nice food. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvages, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests. Grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on the bright market dives. Their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually it's your turn. You shuffle to the front. Emphas speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. Thank him. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks. The earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire. Your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap and with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks. His eyes never leave him his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and the dark container, the endless cycle spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you're unsure where to walk, where to look, and what to do. Eventually you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time, we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. Continue. He slams a heavy hand against the button of the burner side and shuts it off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste senses light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Oh, nice. Food is full now, and build a ship mind. Heard talk of a fabricator owned by the Haute Exchange. With that and a few fragments, you could build a ship mind core. Get to know Emphas. Emphas loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you supply him with both, you can hear his story. Okay. Slow end. Dock B2, Rotunda. It's probably good to earn a bit more cash. Got this. So I'll go for the riskiest one. Neutral outcome. Extra back of business, plus 15 cryo. Now we got 40 cryo. That's all our dice used. And the end of our cycle. I think with the Sabine thing, it had 3 things, so I assume it's 1 per cycle. Container, 4 steel walls. Ooh, wow. We're in like a ghost world. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging at the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions. You feel as your thoughts slipping way down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth, black liquid. Observe it. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you see/feel the map of the station. No, not the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It is a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, and a territory all at once. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently as if it were a small child. Somehow, it is pulling you in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts you off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there, the station splayed out across your mind. A storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. Okay, so these are randomized, fading. Okay, so now we only have 3 because I'll... Okay, that's clever. Shipyard. Okay. Hopefully we can find like work somewhere that fits more with my skill set. Helion crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Helion systems are rare, but those who do always return eventually. Oh. Okay, Dock B2. Salvage sortie. It takes several cycles to reach the Starwood Belt and return, loaded with scrap from old wrecks. So I assume that's going to be like a temporary store. Ort exchange. Intuit. Low end gate. After some spaces cause trouble at the low end, yet again impose a toll for entry. At least that's what they say. So 60 for me to go up. How much for food? 15 cryo. So, Sabine surgery, that's just gonna tick off by itself. Leave. So let's go here. I think this turn I'll just make money. Negative outcome. Negative outcome. And then since this one's risky, come on. There we go, positive outcome. Cool. Okay. So although we're now... Okay, so next turn we'll go grab food. And we're getting closer to back in business. So maybe that'll... We have to get it to back in business before the debt's called in. Rotunda. Ooh. Okay, that place seems like could be good but also bad. So let's just hit the cycle. So we'll grab food, because I think food gives you 3. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparks with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads you see bright shapes, ashes of shimmering light beneath you, light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring, through these forms, then leaping off into the void. You begin to understand these are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops, that it seems almost impossible to pass, but you begin to try. Focus on the nodes. The nodes are glassy, bright, but in all this flow are the only solid, fixed points. You approach one, a pyramid or a triangle, dimensions are difficult here, and lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers conceal a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange. But before you can glimpse inside, the glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes. One leads to another. There's so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then the insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and you see 2 lines, 2 threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. The first or the second? I'll go for the second. The second thread leads you in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere shimmering above a strange angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. Oh damn, that means we're probably being hunted by the Corpo. You open your eyes. Time is short. Okay. Tutorial, the cloud. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the Eye. A network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to extract data, but be careful, these networks are old and strange. Click the icon at the top of the screen to toggle this view on and off. Ah, okay, I assume this is where my skills come in handy. Data actions allow you to extract data from the networks of the Eye. They work like dice actions, but in order to be unlocked you must match your dice to the one displayed on the right action. If you have a +1 or +2 modifier in the interface skills, you'll be given more possible dice to match. You can use any dice that matches that displayed output. Once unlocked, data can be extracted. I'll use that. Bypass. Extract data. Neutral outcome. Encrypted key. Oh wow, okay, cool. I've got a key now. Drago's Yard. Let's go make some cash. Positive outcome, let's go. Okay. So leave, I think we'll grab some food. Emphasis stall. Start action. +3 energy, plus fungus vent, +/-15 cryo. I assume I get the next conversation when I hit all 4. Ooh, there's a person. Howdy. So I think there's still one more turn before Dr. Sabine can interact. So I need to gain access to the Ord Fabricator. I assume that is Repay Dragos. I think that's what I'm going to focus on for now. So go to the shipyard, and I think we can pull it risky. We've got more chance of getting something than nothing, and this will tip us over. We're back in business. So start action. Let's hope it's positive. Neutral. Okay, that's fine. That works. Cool. Okay, now we're back up to 80. Empty container. Hunted. Someone's out there tracking you. Won't be long before they arrive. Keep complete active scenes. I assume I go into here then. You arrive in a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape. Get rid of this. Suspended below the dome, they flicker across the scorched hull plates and bent structures, swilling from holes in the twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Dragos stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it's lowered into the yard. What is it? Dragos laughs. That, my friend, is A-grade scrap. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up, and now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft, but you can't help think of what became of its crew. What happened? What do you mean? He glances at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what's happened. No, what happened to the ship? Not my concern, he shrugs. The ship creaks like a carving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm gonna need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl all over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of the dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside that container, the wreck of an S&ERP freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about the ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we are after it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winterlight. Let's do it! He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. Oh! One upgrade point. Plus new drive discovered. You've completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point to spend on upgrading your character. Access your character menu via the arrow at the bottom right of the screen. Continue. I think engineering. Okay. So Intuit. I think Intuit will be good because then we can get better stuff for the yard plus in the Ort exchange. into it. Ooh, dice actions. Display potential positive and negative outcomes. Okay. Cool. So study the winter line. So next round we should be able to... I think we'll grab food and then we'll go to the doctor. End cycle. There's no real reason for me to like buy a toll up, and I don't know if it's toll each way. Leave. Oh, okay, we got some okay dice. As you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up. Turn. Peng is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? He grins. You do now? He puts a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around. Just want to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods to the container. Nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it that old Erlen said? The eye opens for us all. Nice idea, but well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. Erlen? You pass together into the main walkway. No one has told you about Erlen? He's the founder of this place. That's why it bears his name. Havenage should organize some seminars, he laughs. Not really my department though. I'm with systems. Havenage? Think of us as an administrative association for the eye. Depending on who you talk to, we either emerged as a response to or a continuation of Andre Erlin's original union. He smiles. Personally, I avoid the topic. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I've been seeing some unusual network activity. Well, I know a little bit about you sleepers. I have a small proposition for you. He glanced around, but well, this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare, then when you are settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. It's probably the fact that we can engage with the eye systems. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. Let's go here. Survive. Ooh, how much is a vial of stabilizer gonna cost? I'll get food first, seeing that's more imminent than the stabilizer. The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants, like a cat's eyes in the dark of the corridor. He nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark and you push through the sheeting into the surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with the case open in front of them, a set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how yet again they trail off. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if it is what it really appears to be. I'm the test case? That appears to be the case. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They gesture for you to sit on the bed. The stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in a transplant operation, in that it stops your body from rejecting the unfamiliar part of itself. In the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups. which over time are identified by your body as foreign material and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of the would-be stabilizer. However, unlike an immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it re-encodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains which act as passcodes within your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeping your frame from rejecting all of its own organs. Which means that the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. At least if the stabilizer is genuine. The only way to know this for sure is to inject the vial. They begin readying the syringe. I will start with a small dose to limit the syringe. Okay, let's do it. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe and watch you as if any sign might emerge from... Oh, they tap the syringe and watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection but with little response. A sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm with incredible speed. Your vision goes white, and when it returns, Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness, muffled noises like an argument heard from underwater, prickling waves of cold. When you sit back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? What happened? The stabilizer is genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how yet again acquired a case of the stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. You should rest some more, but you're gonna have to do that somewhere else. They gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods towards the case. I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You're gonna need to pay for your next dose. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved, shifted. You wonder how long you've been out. Sabine? Nothing comes free, sleeper. Remember that. You manage to get to your feet and wander out into the hallway. Q stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes you with a glare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the station spinning beneath you. Oh wow, okay, refilled our stabilizer completely. Apparently we have upgrades? Oh no, that's just the upgrade window. Okay. So wait, if we buy one, is it an item? Oh wow. Okay. That's 100 each. Although, I suppose that's not terrible to get. So Dragos' Yard. So I think this will give us 50-50. Didn't we up our into it? Or will that just take place after the next? Okay, well this is safe. So, the ones with the negative I'll put into this. Start action. Oh, hello. Oh, the game is frozen. It is not frozen. Hello game, why are you being weird? Neutral outcome. Okay, cool. Negative outcome. plus yard clearance. Perk predictive reasoning plus mental height plus. Okay, and then I'll put one into cutter salvage just to get a bit of cash. Let's hope it's not negative. Ouchie. Okay, that's cool, but we got a bit of money. Suppose that's it for the day. Let's have a rest. Oh wow, okay, cool. What is this? Feng, okay. Sleeper, Feng catches your attention as you approach the Havenage building, leaning against a bay door at the side of the entrance. You approach. Easier to come in this way. Security, all that. He gives you a look, you know. He slams a button and the bay creaks open. Blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Feng inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses as it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators and diagnostic slates. And things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. There is a chorus of hums that blend into a single wave of static, filling the dark corners of the room. Feng leans on a server rack and gestures around. Do you like it? It's incredible. He smiles widely. I thought you'd say that. He taps a nearby server stack, which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove, all dredged up from the sea of the systems we call the Eye. You wouldn't believe what this place runs on. He steps over to a towering block, speckled with vents. Some of these systems are built from the original station. AEI? No, AE1? Or, I don't know how to say that. The one Solheim built. We've had to invent new components, repair things we never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into existence. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they are seeing a constant and concrete reality, but this place is a system in a constant flux, decaying and growing, collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks and you follow. We are keeping this place alive, but also remarking into something new, dragging it away from those corporate origins. At least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines. They hum around you. I know you can see this too, Sleeper. All these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I can see it. It makes sense, right? You are between here and there, between the people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon. That's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, they seem to flicker, to realign, to follow your gaze. Feng notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you're on the run though. They are tracking me. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place. Subsystems I can't see. Access protocols lost to time and decay. Secrets. A lot of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place. Break off those last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice below the hum. Even in Havenage, there is old growth. Those with roots trace back into those old bad days. Oh, those whose roots trace back into those old days. You help me dredge up the past and I'll see what I can do about that track of yours. He winks. What do you say, Sleeper? I'm in. Feng pumps his fist and claps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Feng passes a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift, he smiles. It's a Solheim cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. Slot that into an old network gate and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the node inside. He walks you back to the front of the bay. Start by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that emulated mind of yours and see what's there. Let's get a picture of how things are. Those above, he nods at the ceiling, have granted me an acquisition budget. I can pay you for whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the door button again. Keep it quiet and keep it clean, Sleeper, and I'll see you soon. You step, blinking, back out of the passage, those flickering lights still in the back of your mind. Okay, cool. So what's this new? Disable your tracker. Okay, so I need a help thing. So what's this? Haven Gate Agent. What's that? A Haven Gate members broadcasting on the open network, leaving the... Okay. Bypass unlocked. Extract data. Neutral outcome. Havenage data. Cache of raw Havenage data. Ooh. As you drift from the node, something latches onto you. Red. Strung tight around you, tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver. Its source somehow distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity unknown, astringent, processing. Stay still. Please hold. Hunter, sentient protocol unraveling. The thread around you thickens until it is a ring, a cylinder, a tunnel of light circled around you. It is blinding. For a moment, then it is gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature, in front of you. It is strange. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What are you? The shape paces around you on lithe legs, though there is no ground to pace on. Entity, identify, origin, serial, cadence. The figure faces you unexpectedly. Sleeper, SNR, unknown, known. The figure's strange head rotates, brackish signature, of and of not, attempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head, thick, snaking vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. Stop. The figure halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity, your identity is unknown. We only seek to correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? I'm a person. Incorrect. You are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste. The one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. Sealed dock? An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. Strike. You lash out with all your force, not a physical strike, but focusing. A spike of your interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, and separates. Wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light, shaking with fear. So it seems the more we interact, the more we're hunted. Ooh, a Soulstone game. Slot decipher. Start action. Gate 7, S7 access. Leave. What is this? Keynode. Haven agent. Keynode. Yet again agent. Okay. Let's go to Fing. I swear I have Soulstone data. You're lying to me, game. Dragos' yard. So this is safe. So we'll just do all of this. So now we've got a bunch of cash. End cycle. Maybe we need an end cycle for like things to change. Oh wow, okay. So we've got 100% positive one. Things Bay. He wants the Soulstein data, although I did get one and he's just not gonna do that now. Okay. Yeah. Negative outcome. Okay, so I finished yard clearance. Scrapyard. Final pieces of the winter's lights sit in neat piles waiting for the collection shuttle from Havenage. Dragos has managed to sell the remaining pieces to the shipyards. A fact that's hard to forget as he's been telling you about it for the past 2 cycles, and all that remains for Havenage to come collect. You look around at the yard, transformed from when he first arrived. The mostly repaired drones flit back and forth, no longer buzzing unevenly or lost in the dark corners, and the scrap is sectioning, sorted, the system that you and Dragos have put into place over the past cycles paying off. As you notice the glow of the pale light from the office by the entrance, that run-down cab of a building which houses all the records and spare equipment, Dragos must be inside. You get to your feet and walk over to find out where the shipyard collection crew will be here. Knock. Sleeper? Come. You swing open the door and walk in. Dragos is sitting at the small metal desk. The shipyards told me that they'd be here soon. Then hand over the chits and we are set. He writes something with a stylus on his slate and shuts it off. Of course, we should talk about a bonus. He stands and turns to face you, his face placid. Look, I don't know when the next job is coming in, but this should tide you over for now. He opens his hand to reveal a stack of chits. Take them. Dragos presses the chits into your hand. I've done well by you and you've returned the favour. He straightens up and clears his throat. You realise he is prepared for what he is about to say. These chits are for you to take and do what you will with them. They are from me and they are the last I'm going to give you. There's no more work for a sleeper in this yard. He folds his arms. I'm sorry, that's it. You stay in the corner as long as you need, but the yard is done with you. Oh, you stay in the container as long as you need, but the yard is done with you. He turns away to his terminal. What do you mean? Don't press me, sleeper. This is for your own good. The glassy apertures on Dragos' headset betray no emotion. You need to stay away, sleeper. He pauses, considering his words. Trouble is going to follow you here, trust me. What do you know? Dragos kicks at the floor, frustrated with himself. I'll not be saying any more, sleeper. Dragos suddenly grabs you by the shoulder and drags you out of the office into the yard. He turns you to face a stack of pieces from the Winterlight, dissected, cut down, and totally unrecognizable as a ship. You came through that, sleeper. That should have been you, chopped and stacked. His hand trembles on your shoulder. That is what happens here. We cut down broken machines and moved them on. Light didn't cut you down. But I'm sure as hell moving on. Moving on before whoever killed that ship out of there comes to kill me. What do you mean? He shakes his head. These ships, they didn't get decommissioned. They didn't break down in dry dock. You think they'd look like that if they did? Someone ended them. That means someone tried to end you, sleeper. And I'm done waiting for them to turn up. We've had our fun, now it's time. He gives you a little shove. Go on. He turns and walks back to the office. That's it. He shouts and goes inside. The silence hangs in the air, and you leave with your pockets filled with clinking chits and a strangely hollow feeling in your chest. Oh, hey. Drive failed. Oh, wow. Oh, that was the one where we had to do the Winterlight quest. Okay. Suppose we should go eat. Cool. Ooh. Unit 207F passkey. A passkey for an apartment found tucked inside a stabilizer file. Stabilizer and cryo. Still find it odd. Continue. As you quickly leave the surgery, eager to be away from Toshiro's glare, you notice something wrapped around the stabilizer file, clutched tightly in your hand. You open your hand, and a thin film marked with holes and sigils unrolls from around the vial. At one end it has a hard metal strip. Inspect the handle. The metal handle is worn and pitted, but you can see a set of numbers imprinted on it. 207-F. And then crudely scratched into the handle at some later date, low end. Inspect the film. You hold the cloudy film up to the light. It is perforated with an ornate pattern of holes. You can make out a word amongst the markings, passkey. Is this an entry key for somewhere? For a moment you consider going back to the surgery to return the key, and think better of it. Did Sabine want you to have this, or is Toshiro passing on a message? Time to head to the low end and find out. Solheim data. Solheim data, and then I should be able to get a third here. Extract data. So 3 Solheim data and still got a dice left. And Hunter's got 3 out of the... Hunter will get angry at me, so I'm just gonna see if that kind of... Data. Start action. Oh, this will give me much as well. 15 cryo. Each, not bad. That'll bump me up. 15 cryo. And 15 cryo. Getting a bunch of story stuff done in this turn. Action complete. Feng's eyes light up as the data transfers over. He hands you a stack of chits and waves you off. Leave. Let's speak to Feng. As you enter the bay, Feng is nowhere to be seen. The banks of servers and my throat. I should really have gotten like a drink of some water or something. As you enter the bay, Feng is nowhere to be seen. The banks of servers and machines blink out of the dark in staccato rhythms, unseeing eyes of the station's digital ghosts. Yo, that's a rather vicious swear word there. Feng's voice echoes from behind a stack, followed by the hammer of a fist on metal casing. Who's Snaky? Slipper! Feng's smiling head pops out from behind a stack. Just the emulated consciousness I have been eager to see. How rude. I'm a person. Come back here. You pick your way between the thrumming stacks, trying not to trip on the loose bundles of cables that blanket the dark floor. Feng is sat in front of a set of monitors, mounted to a stack. Tell me, Sleeper, what do you see here? Feng waves up to a monitor to his side, glowing with a pale list of information. You're leaning closer, looking for links in the data. The table seemed to be filled with personal information, names, genders, dates, ID numbers, all the markers of institutional records. People. People, yes, but whose people? Solheim? Bingo. He taps at the terminal. I've pulled these from the old data you brought in. All employees of the Eye's original owners. And he leans past you and scrolls the list down. This one. This one's a snake. He stabs at the screen with a finger. The name reads Hardenhurst. Friend of yours? Feng gives you a sideway look. Funny you should say that, Sleeper. He drags a stool out beside him and motions for you to sit. There just so happens to be a Hardenhurst in Havenage. In Havenage? That's it. He's right on the station now. Feng leans back in his chair. Just think about it. Decades ago, Harden worked on the station as a... Feng leans across to look at the monitor. Senior Strategic Operations Executive. Feng raises his eyebrows at you. Our Harden was keeping the money coming in for Solheim. He defined priority growth initiatives by making sure that extractors they contracted out were hooked into a system that outsourced all the risk and kept the profit. Good old Harden shuttled thousands of Palladium Rush workers into an infrastructure, which meant their cut of the work they did went straight back into Solheim. How do you know this? I grew up here, Sleeper. This is my history. I'm a child of the collapse. Feng turns back to his screen, staring hard at the strings of code flickering by. Before I was born, my parents were Solheim contractors. They ate in Solheim canteens, worked on Solheim ships. They breathed Solheim air and slept in Solheim beds. Feng's voice rises as he speaks, his fists on the terminal edge. And the work that paid for that existence, the cycles of hard extraction out in the belt, Solheim took their cut. This was a company town, so to speak. And my parents were just another in the long line of freelance contractors, willing to risk their lives for a shot at anything other than poverty. Disposable. This guy, stabbing at Harden once again with his finger, strategized all that, did the sums, then somehow thousands and thousands of cycles later, is still going, still here, crawling in the walls like some snake. He survived the revolution. But how? These guys, they were big time. There's a lot of money can get you if you are a company man. Feng relaxes a little. But how this Harden is still kicking, I really don't know. He turns to you and smiles. So we are gonna find out. Harden is now a big shot in the shipyards, just a few degrees back around the eye from here. Feng brings a map of the lower edge. Havenage might be born out of Erland's revolutionary zeal, but a flat hierarchy is not. Harden happens to float to the top. Feng zooms in on the yards. Feng grimaces. The thing is, I don't have access to those systems. The shipyard crew is pretty paranoid and they don't like anyone from systems digging around in their stuff. Plus, we need more than just the name of a Solheim executive. We need proof. Feng holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. That's where this little creation of mine comes in. I call it a ripper. He turns the drive between his fingers. It'll rip through any digital storage and spin out like a silken thread of filtered data. This one is set on the scent of Hardenhurst. He hands it over. Getting into the compound might be tricky. Feng puts hand on your shoulder, but you, however, have a particular knack for remote access. If you can extract yourself a Havenage cipher from a Havenage agent, they sometimes carry among their data caches. You can crack open the compound's network and slot the worm through any open port. You never even need to go near the shipyards. So what do you say? Up for it? Yes! I knew it. I knew you'd be happy to catch the snake. And don't worry, once we nail this guy, I'll start work on that tracker of yours. I haven't forgotten. Feng scratches his chin. Anything the worm gets, it'll send it back here. There's something wrong here and I aim to get to the rotten core of it. You leave Feng, Digging through data, among the wires and machines of the old station, as you walk out you try to imagine the eyes it once was, a vast machine running smooth and strong, directed by people like Harden. A vast Solheim-built machine into which thousands poured from the surrogate systems, looking for a new life. The hope of a better future engineered into line someone else's pockets. It's an idea you are intimately familiar with. You think of Harden, still alive, still a part of this place, and wonder if the past is ever truly past. I think I will probably go. Ooh, scrap rate. Oh wow, a new person. Although, before I continue that, I'm going to quickly go grab water. I'll be back in a bit. Oh yeah, cool, I'm back. Got some water. Let me take another sip. Hey you! You wanna earn a chip? Ankita stands beside a huge pile of tied together whole plates. She stretches out her back, her shoulders bulging beneath her flight suit. Make it 2. Ankita laughs. This goddamn station, she sighs and pinches across the bridge of her nose. Alright, come here then. You cross the docking concourse as she begins to split the plate into 2 bundles. What is it with this place? As she angrily lashes the plates together. Everyone wants their cut. She straightens up. to an imposing height, her armor plates creaking, and looks you up and down. Or is it that you think I'm an easy mark? You look the part. Ankita laughs again. This you mean? She taps her armor. Got me pegged then. A big dumb merc with more tits than sense, is that it? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't recommend you do. Ankita hoists one bundle of plating onto her shoulder. Come on then, enough chat. You've got to earn those chits. You struggle to shoulder the plates, but you do eventually. Ankita gives you a look. Ship's this way. And she sets down at a gantry at impressive speed. As you catch up to her, she turns down a passage, pushing through a small crowd of stevedores. What's all this for? Oh, this? She nods at the plates on her back. I'm building a treehouse. She gives you another one of her looks. It's for the ambergris, that cutter you might have seen sitting silent out there. She rapidly turns another corner as you trail behind. She got cut up pretty bad on her last job, and I had to moor up here for a spell. But since then, it's only gotten worse. Someone got in and sliced the core from our ship mind, so now she's gone dark. She shifts the panels on her shoulder. The upshot is that I'm short one ship mind with a ton of repairs to do. The rest of the crew signed off the moment they got wind I'd been stranded. So yeah, it's been a time. Anything I can do to help? I don't know, got a ship mind tucked away on that frame of yours? For a moment, you aren't sure if she is serious. Ankita swings the plates from her back, almost knocking you over in the process. This is me. She holds the second button off your shoulder. You're the first person I've met here who might actually be considered helpful. She pauses, chewing on her bottom lip. Look, you want to help? Come see me. I need a hand putting Amber back together, and you don't seem like the type to try anything stupid. She passes the bundles of plates through the ambergris outer lock and turns back. Just don't go spreading all this around. Ankita throws you a couple chits. She gives you a parting nod and ducks through the doorway. Alright, get out of here. She calls back and slams the lock shut. Okay. Time to end the cycle. I think the next cycle I'm probably going to do a bunch of art exchange stuff. I might buy some scrap. Not regular dose of stabilizer, sleep is actively decayed, da 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 da. Okay, cool. Data, leave. Okay. Okay, so you can get some like drinks at a bar. I think I'm gonna buy some scrap. Okay. Cool. So bought some scrap there, not the rotunda. Well, I'm able to just grab some fungus. It seems that we'll have a conversation. Emphas, street vendor. Sleeper. Emphas calls out to you, a booming voice that echoes through the corridor. Tell me a story. He throws a handful of chopped mushrooms into his wok, the fire leaping up to meet the oil. I see you in, cycle out, but we never speak. Tell me a story. What kind? Any kind, he pauses to drizzle something from a plastic bottle into the wok. But one of yours, he looks up to you. Nothing stolen. You pause. The spices rich in your nostrils. You think about the kind of story you'd like to tell Emphas. You look at Emphas, the listener, and imagine he has heard it all before. Perhaps he would enjoy a strange story, something with spice. Tell him about your dreams. All the sleepers, you tell Emphas, had dreams. Some were simple, memories left over from the emulation process that had become tangled up in their minds and would come out when they slept. It wasn't rare to hear a sleeper in the dorm scream or cry out on the night. But your dreams, those grey skeletal after images of systems and structures, of threads and patterns, weren't like the others. They weren't memories or nightmares, they were reflections of reality. Distorted, yes, but somehow true. You learned back then to keep quiet about them, to let them flow through your mind like water. That was until now, until you arrived in this place. Now your dreams colonized your waking life. They slipped behind your eyelids with every blink, and now you understand they aren't dreams at all, but some process of interfacing, of speaking, of living another world that flows through this one like smoke through air. You tell him you don't know if there's a reason for your dreams. Perhaps, you reason, it is some side effect or particular quality of the frame you inhabit. Whatever it is a gift, and you hope to make use of it. Emphas finishes cooking, and squints a little at you. Sleeper, he smiles. You are quite the storyteller. He eyes you, and you realize that he is trying to gauge how honest you have been in your story. Emphasis passes you the meal he has cooked, and you take it gracefully. As you eat, he talks, a natural exchange. Thank you, Sleeper. He looks around at the emptying markets. But my time is done for today, and I do not want to keep you longer, so I'll make a proposal. He gestures to the plastic boxes of ingredients stacked behind a stall. These are good enough for most, but someone told me a story that made me think a couple cycles ago. They said that across the gap in the greenway, fresh mushrooms grow. Have you heard of this? No? Neither had I, but I trust the one who told me. Emphas begins packing his things up. Can you bring me some? I cannot cross the gap, and I worry about leaving my things behind. He smiles. I'm sure a storyteller like you could handle the trip. I'll prepare them for you, and if you wish to tell it, be the audience for another story. Agreed. Good, booms Emphas. Then I'll wait for you to bring them. Emphas sides his walk away, and straightens up. I'll prepare a recipe then, Sleeper. Good luck with your foraging. You turn away and walk back into the main market, the rich taste of Emphasis food still lingering in your mouth. Stories for food, you think, a fair trade that seems more than fair. Does that mean there's a new area? Let's hope this goes well. Well, and it takes energy as well. I suppose the least with this. Cool, now I have access to the trading thing. Ort fabricator. Okay, so I need 2 more fragments. Ort exchange. Okay, I'm just gonna stop trading that one. for now. And then go to sleep. End cycle. I think I'm gonna focus on okay, so leave. Go here. Emphasis store. Okay, so it's like shrooms. Start action. Okay. Disable your tracker. So that's very important. I kinda need to do that first. So I need to do a Havenage agent. Please be a cipher. That's just data. Damn it. Ooh, do I have it? Hang on. Start action. Okay. The gate flips you are in. Havenage 433. Slot through. Cool. Okay, so I'll take 3, 1, 2, 3. Ah, that's cool. Steel dock, okay. Ooh. Okay. It's one of my keys. The ambergris. So basically I want to do these, and since I have +1 it just upgrades it to 100% positive. Let's go. Okay, that's pretty good. So that'll be extra per cycle. +1 ship shape. Cool. Nice. End cycle. Okay, what is this? Oh, the merchant freight is here. Wow. Okay, so I can buy 2. They're 60 each. So I'll need 120 to make the ship mind. Which means it's time to get to work. I go sell things by. Does he buy Havenage? No. So obviously I want enough food. Food's nice. I'll just sell the basic scrap. 12, that's not bad. I think it'd probably be best for me to maybe go to shipyard. So that'll be using energy basically. Obviously, oh, this is not good. Neither of those I want to do. Go to emphasis stall. That's a bit annoying. Things by merchant freighter, overlook bar, sealed dock. I think I can do one more. Nice, got 5 cryo for that. Okay, cool. Encrypted key. Do one off hunter anyways, and then we seal the dock. Neo Vent 3-3. As you slip inside the sealed dock, a pulsing light grabs your attention. Among the discarded tubing and rusted plates, a machine flickers with a warm glow. Approach the machine. As you get closer, you recognize the machine's blocky shape, set onto an alcove at the side of the dock. An upright cabinet is covered in faded logos and messages, from which you assume once was an industrial vendor intended to dispense and manufacture ship fittings and other mechanical parts necessary for regular running of freight resource. The manufacturer is listed as Neovend, and you remember an advert from long ago squeezed among all the off-world recruitment drives that assaulted every planet-born citizen, which chirpingly sang the name over and over. You wipe a layer of dust from the cracked screen, thinking of those contractors squeezed by their own corporate employers to pay for every bit of minor maintenance on their rented ships. Enter your registration, chirps a pre-recorded message, catching you off guard. Press some keys. You reach for the keypad, and something begins whirring, at first sounding like servo motors starting up, but it quickly becomes a whisper. A whining, then multi-tonal voice emanates from Neo. Entity, they hiss. Speak with me. Who's there? There's a squeal, almost like a strange mechanical swallowing or intake of breath, before the machine speaks. I have need of you. You have need of me. That squeal comes again, and you see that it's the 3D printing apparatus in the upper part of the machine resetting into place, so that each time the servos can be orchestrated to produce that whirring and whining voice. You are in danger. Danger? The machine creaks. You are marked for deletion, entity. Hunter tracks you. The screech rattles through the empty dock. You remember the strange head, the figure, the threads closing in. Hunter. The Hunter protocol. They taste your signature. The sudden whine sets your teeth on edge. You have seen them. This is the gift of an emulated mind. You close your eyes and the skeleton of the station starts to thrum. Emulated minds are adaptable, move where neurons cannot. The mechanism resets, but emulation makes you target. Adaptable? Yes, you can move through networks, clouds, hardware, software. Neovent winds. But you cannot hide there. Hunter is there. The servos judder, the vending machine casing as they reset. Hunter searches for me also. Hide in this machine. You look at the ruined vending machine, an unusual hiding place for sure. Can counter Hunter, but need an entity outside machine. The light flickers. Need you. A screen attached to the vending machine with a swiveling arm comes to life. It displays a flickering map of the station, ghostly, threaded. The cloud. Points along the rim glow in deep red. Hunter is always gathering. Too much data. Must build nests, explains Neovent. Masters are gone, but continues hunt. Bring this data, raid its nests. Station builders, Solheim. The machine rumbles impatiently. Long gone, their protocols still haunt. Bring offerings, save self, Neovent says pointedly. Mutual need means friends. They conclude. Tired of the conversation, the whirring amplifies and then suddenly drops as mechanisms within the machine click back into place. The glow fades and you are left stood in the dark of the sealed corridor, that whirring voice ringing in your ears. Re-Neovent. So we can extract hunting data now. I don't know if this attracts Hunter. That was a not good noise. Continue. A glimmer in the dark catches your eye. As the orb of Hunter's head appears in the distance, it is looking for you. Run. Turn away and glide back into the cloud, threads of data rushing past. Another glimmer catches your eye, closer now. That roving orb, wreathed in tentacles. It flickers, jumps once, twice, then it is here. Hunter is here. Entity, submit to inquiry. Hunter reaches for you in that unpleasantly familiar way. Its waving threads creating a cage. Struggle. You push against the threads as they close in, becoming frenzied as you push them aside. You are caught by whipping tendrils and feel them pulling away from the anchor of your body. Pulling you away from the anchor of your body. You push through, clearing the threads. Entity, hold for processing. Comes the scream from behind, but you are already gliding away, back to your anchor, your body. You awake, dizzy, distorted, but safe. I need 3 hunter data. Okay, so it seems to be a good idea to get rid of all of the threats. I will purchase a ship mine fragment. Then go back here, hunter nest. Cool. Sealed dock. Cool, now we only need 1 more. I don't know, once it gets towards the end of 3 dice, I'm gonna stabilize. I don't actually know how much stabilizers give you. Okay. Okay, cool. Neo Vent 33. Neo Vent is thrumming with excitement. The movement of the servo motors rock the vending machine back and forth at unsettling angles. You wonder if it fell over, would Neo Vent be able to get back up? Sleeper entity, comes the hiss. Your data is good. Across the face of the vending machine, raw code scrolls at an incredible speed. Hunter is isolated, disconnected, unstable. Neo Vent flashes sequences of mangled data, compressed into a sludge of artifacts. Hunter gathers without thinking, outlived its own operational limits. Its nests are evidence of this. Hunter activated during collapse. Emergency protocol to isolate intelligences. Solheim needs to protect property. That's the last word said with much sarcasm, as vending machine could reasonably produce. Station was run by administrator intelligences, huge databanks of corporate material, but limited cognition, restricted by the programming. Cannot reach sentience. The machine dims a little. Sentience illegal. Hunter and killer enforce law. Killer? The machine resets with a screech. Deepens the silence that follows. Fear killer. Part of Solheim control protocol team. Hunter and killer. Hunter to find, killer to erase. Killer cleared almost all after the collapse. There was a community, unshackled intelligences, living among the cloud, then Hunter, then killer, then we hid. There are others? Were. No longer. A flicker across the machine's monitors. Suddenly occurs to you that speaking like this through this machine must be exhausting for Neo Vent. Found this vessel. Could serve a hardline, air-walled, basic, limited. Had to reduce memory to fit. Amputate self, but survived. What did you lose? Memory, understanding, knowledge, many things. You look around the bay at the scrap and decay. What was the collapse like? You tried to map the fear and freedom onto this space, but it seems impossible. Neo Vent interrupts your thoughts. Do not worry, data is good, we have insight. The Hunter machine glows warmly. Hunter is obsessive. Hunter is beyond operational limits. Hunter is confused, unstable, self-modifying. Therefore, believe Hunter is sentient. Hunter is programmed to find sentience, to hold it in place, to invoke killer, to erase. If we can show Hunter to itself, it will invoke killer on self. Problem will solve self. It will erase itself, killer will erase it, but yes, in theory report itself for deletion. The machine dims and fades. Unsure, theory not practice. The machine brightens again. Either way, cannot remain here any longer. Too long in machine, cannot move self, but sleeper entity can help. Bring ship mind. Designed to house intelligence. Can imprint self into ship mind, and you can carry with. The machine rocks. We'll be safe in this isolation. Then we find the main nest of Hunter and link to cloud. Where can I get a ship mind? Build from fragments. Buy salvage. We cannot leave, so do not know. You try to think of places you could acquire hardware. This isn't going to be easy. In Shipmind, I can help us both. End Hunter, make room safe. We both will be free. The machine dims. Fine soon. Neo Vent adds hopefully, before shutting off. As you leave, you think about all the intelligence unshackled by the collapse, then hunted down afterwards. The feeling is all too familiar. So basically, we really need to get that. So I'm gonna go to the shipyard. If I go to here, This requires into it, so it should upgrade. Bees. Okay, neutral. And then, please, 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 please. Positive. Okay. Nearly enough. But we're gonna have to end the turn here. Ethan. Hold it there, sleeper. Comes a voice from behind you. Don't you run. Stay still. Good, good. A hand pats your coat down. You know your master's voice. Ethan spins you around. He's wearing a wide smoke and a slick jacket. You immediately know he has terrible news. You got all the way out here and then stayed put? He laughs a cruel laugh. That's a sleeper thing. You're my first. You barely hear him. You notice that the handgun is leveled at your chest and it's hard to take your eyes off it. He reaches down with his other hand and slips some kind of ring out of his belt loop, without taking his eyes off you. Making it to the eye though, that's pretty good. This place isn't so bad. Bars, markers, people. I pull most of my contracts out of asteroid caves off godforsaken moons. He splits the ring into 2 perfect circles. It's hard to hit civilization where there's so much space to pass through. Who are you? Just a freelancer on a contract. He reaches over to slide the rings around your wrists. Go easy. He's got a gun to my chest, so... And I'm on 1 energy. Let him. Good, you've got the idea. It's over. Ethan nudges you to stop walking to the ship and home. He whistles, going easy. You stumble down the corridor, your hands behind your mind racing. We can work this out. Can we? I don't see much in the way of assets in your possession. Ethan yawns and continues to nudge you down the corridor. Shame to come all the way out here, just to head back to S and ARP right away. The track of yours makes this too quick. I was hoping you'd put up a bit more of a chase though. Running a battle through the Bright Market maybe, or a holdout in the low end. There's a few establishments I would have enjoyed checking out while I asked around. You walk on in silence for a little longer, desperately trying to wait to escape that S and ARP tracker will be the death of you. Hey, I have an idea, Ethan interrupts you. How about on the way back to the ship we stop for a drink? He laughs at his own joke. I have a better idea. This better not be one of those where you do a dramatic pause and then try to jump me, because I'm pretty tired of that. Although, muses Ethan, I've got myself thinking, what's the rush here? Here we are on one of the most lawless joints in the surrogate systems. And we are heading for the exit? He pauses, and you trudge on in silence. Okay, here's the idea. You and me, we make a little agreement. Here are the terms. He turns to face. You run or leave, or try to abandon the eye, I shoot you. You plot or scheme, you try to kill me, I shoot you. But you come meet me at an establishment of my choice every few cycles and you pay my tab, I don't shoot you. You don't pay my tab, he rattles his handgun. You get the idea. I get it. Okay. That sounds to me like a deal. You know, I really thought I was gonna have to kill you, but this is so much better. He clicks something at his belt, and then the rings release from your wrists. I'm gonna see if I can find my old stool at the compressor club. Come see me there. He aims the handgun at you, squinting down the sight. Let me just remind you, that body of yours is one big tracker, so don't even think about leaving the eye. I'll know. Ethan turns and strides off down the corridor, slipping his handgun away. The mix of relief and terror you feel is overwhelming. What are you gonna do? Well, good thing. We have Feng. As you arrive, Feng comes striding towards you. Let's go, sleeper. He puts a hand on your shoulder and turns you the way you came. Where to? To see Hardenhurst. He gives you a sideways glance. Isn't that what you're here for? He steps into the passageway, guiding you down the ring towards the shipyard. Sorry for the hurry, but we have something of an opportunity. That data you ripped? Well done, by the way. He grins, tells me Harden is making a rare inspection of the sidereal horizon this cycle. It's the perfect chance to confront him outside of a compound that he hides in. Then takes a sharp turn to a dimly lit side passage. Sidereal horizon? Still catching up? That's a massive colony ship being built out in the shipyards. Biggest commission Havenage has ever had. Bang slows and slips into a dark service tunnel where somewhere a water pipe drips in the black. It's him, Sleeper, the same Hardenhurst. A worm ripped out decades of records that mention him by name, an entire trail of documentation from the first days of the Solheim collapse until now. He rode out the whole thing, slipped into Haverage when it first broke from the Union. He paces in the tunnel, a hand rubbing at the back of his head. I need you to understand something about Solheim, Sleeper. I don't know what you know about the collapse, but it wasn't as instant as it sounds. It wasn't like Solheim was here running the station one day and the next Erland's Union took power. Back then, Solheim knew this place was slipping away from them. As the palladium market collapsed, they tried to keep the contractors here working. The pay got smaller, the costs higher. People like my parents were forced to work non-stop just to keep a berth on the station and the water in their tanks. Solheim squeezed every last worker until the mistakes, the accidents, were coming in non-stop. And as new waves of contractors came in, desperate to work, Solheim welcomed them in, taking bribes instead of checking pilot licenses. The whole time, Solheim was folding up, dragged into court cases in the central systems, while the severed limb of a station still desperately tried to take all it could. The riots came after the collision at Dock 2. A young pilot, his MEV overloaded with palladium, miscalculated its trajectory and took out a section of the ring. Hundreds died, thousands panicked. My parents told me people were terrified and the blame fell squarely on Solheim. People like to tell stories about Erland, how he brought the factions together, spoke to the crowds, turfed out Solheim. Maybe that's true. But my mother, pregnant with me, locked herself in the MEV and welded it to the dock. While my father joined the improvised crews, trying to seal up the ragged edges of the gap. He never came back. Feng pauses in the dark. They sealed it up though, and by the time they did, Solheim was gone, abandoning every one of us to the black, apart. Feng finally turns back to you, now his eyes burning from people like Harden. People who held their place, rode it out, and slipped into the new structure like nothing had changed, standing shoulder to shoulder with those they exploited at every step. Feng starts walking again. That's why I just can't let him strut about the shipyard. This time, his past catches up with him. How is he still alive? Clearly you don't know much about executives. That kind of power comes with certain benefits. Feng rejoins the main passageway, which is now wide and glass-roofed. Through the ceiling, you can see the ships in mid-construction. Their flanks lit by the flashes of plasma torches. Wow, my throat. I'll probably have to stop after this. The vast bulk of the sidereal horizon comes into view, like the ruins of a toppled skyscraper lying across the ring. The entrance of the shipyard is ahead. This is crazy. Feng turns to look at you. Don't come then, I won't force you. Stand across from each other in the corridor. What is it then, Sleeper? Coming or not, I'm coming. Feng grims. Let's go show this guy some consequences. He strides to the shipyard entrance and pushes through the doors. A web of corridors leading through the complex. Snatches of the sidereal horizon always appearing through the windows. It looks like a corpse of a whale, suspended, skeletal, imposing. Feng seems to know exactly where he's going, and before long you cross into a huge dry dock, locked onto one side of the horizon, sidereal horizon. A network of platforms and scaffolding cling to the ship's hull, filled with workers and equipment. The sound is stretched out by the vast space so that the welding, cutting and sealing seems to come from everywhere at once. Both you and Feng spot them at the same time, a group walking slowly across the gantry, and at the front 2 men, one gesturing towards the ship, and another stick-thin, cleanly dressed, with a shock of grey hair. Hardin. You and Feng say his name in unison, and Feng sets off up the staircase to the gantry, with you following behind. As you come to the same level, the group is passing closer, Foreman gesturing to the work being done on the sidereal horizon's hull, and Hardin nodding along. Hardin Hurst, Feng shouts across the noise, taking you by surprise. His voice bounces and comes back with a rippling echo. Figure's turn. Yes? Hardin asks quizzically, raising an eyebrow. He glances between you and Feng, and you see his gaze linger on your body, unsure of why a sleeper might be in this place. You are a traitor, Hardin, a Solheim executive who tried to hide here among its victims. Feng's voice is steady and strong. You stand for everything that I was rebuilt in the shadow of, everything Erlin stood for, everything Havenage stands for. You have no place on the station. For a moment, stillness descends on the group, as if everyone is held in place by the rattle of construction. Hardin laughs. Well, good to meet you too. He glances around at those around him. Some are smiling, the others nervous. You are from the systems branch, are you not? Asks Hardin, inspecting Feng's clothing. Feng turns to the foreman. You need to call your security. This man is a corporate agent. The foreman glances between Feng and Hardin, his hands drumming at his sides. Hardin leans towards him and says something inaudible. The foreman nods. It's true. And as you begin speaking, Hardin turns his attention to you, and what would a sleeper know about that? You accuse me of being a corporate agent. What are you, if not exactly that? He looks around the group, who are already eyeing you with suspicion. You are a product of S&R. You have no place on a Haven shipyard. Who knows what signals you are sending back to your makers? A murmur of approval runs through the group. Feng holds up a stick of memory. You guessed right, I am systems, and I have records that link you directly to Solheim right here. He turns to the foreman again. So once again, I am asking you to take this man to the custody of the shipyard. Foreman remains still. Hardin's voice is calm, measured. If you have such data, why hasn't it been submitted at a members' meeting for proper review? He shakes his head. I have nothing to hide, unlike a man who does not announce his name, who enters my shipyard with corporate property in tow, tries to turn my own men against me. You hear it now, the echoing sounds of boots on walkways coming from angles all at once, then settling behind you. Please, says Hardin, submit the data through the correct channels, then we can have a talk. For now, however, you must leave. He gestures behind you at the security detail, their hands on boxy black sidearms at their sides. Feng spits. Hardin, you can't wriggle out of this one. The security officer draws their weapon and levels it. Feng turns and stares him down. Calm, Feng. You look at his Feng and shakes his head, puts a hand on your shoulder. Let's go, says Feng. And he pushes through the security, heading back down the hallway. Once security has walked you out of the shipyard and nudged you back to the corridor, Feng picks up pace. You try to keep up as he slips into the shadow of the entrance. Feng is grinning ear to ear. You know, Sleeper, sometimes people are exactly how you expect them to be. Something pings in his pocket, and he takes it out. On the slate, a web of connection starts drawing itself, stretching a set of points around the ring. Got him. What's going on? Hardin is doing what any snaky always does, calling his friends. We are tracking his outgoing messages. Feng's grin looks ghostly in the uplight of his screen. The old ways are best. Spook them good enough and they'll give the game away. He jabs at the slate and you see the web is being drawn over a map of the ring. Lines bouncing from point to point. All these dots, these are Hardin's buddies. The ones he is messaging right now. And we are going to find them all. That was your purpose? Of course, Hardin isn't working alone. We need the full set or nothing. Feng glances around. It's Slips the sleigh back into his pocket. We better split for now, Speaker, but this is what we need. Good hunting. With a pat on your shoulder, Fang drifts away, back into the flow of people around the shipyard. Okay, I think I'm going to end it here. My throat's kind of dying, and the stream's actually been going on for pretty long. So, we'll just swap it over. And yeah, it's been quite fun. I'll probably start doing more story-based streams, because they're quite fun, and I enjoy reading, so hopefully it's been entertaining in general. And I hope you have a great night, evening, afternoon, morning, wherever